Mama. Today I want to bust 10 common myths that you see everywhere. In movies, your doctor might have even told you some, so grab your popcorn and let's get started. The first myth is something that you see in a lot of movies, and that's how they would show that a person is going into labor. And it's usually with that big gush of water, your water breaking.
I think we're taking on water.
It's me.
Okay. Oh my God! Nora's water just broke!
This is actually not how a lot of labor starts. This only happens in about 15% of all labor. For most people, it will just start with contractions, feeling the contractions, they are getting more intense, they are getting closer in time. When your water eventually breaks, it's not always a big gush. Sometimes it could just be a little trickle. So don't think that you're not actually in labor until your water breaks. Have you heard of this saying, once a C-section, always a C-section? That's something that they say to moms who had one cesarean section and they're trying to have another baby, and then they're told that you should have another cesarean section because you had the first one. This is not true. Cesarean sections are always a major surgery, and just because you've had one before doesn't necessarily mean you should have another one. A vaginal birth still remains the best and safest way to have your baby. As long as the complications that resulted in your first cesarean section have been resolved and there's no risk of it happening again, then you're better off trying for a vaginal birth, and if the need for a cesarean section occurs again, then you can go for it. The next myth is that women in labor should avoid eating. Think about the hard work, the hours and hours of hard work that goes into labor. Some women can be in labor for several days, multiple hours, and to do that with little to no food in you. This rule actually started because of the fear of aspiration, which is inhaling food and liquid into your lungs when you're unconscious during a cesarean section. But for women whose pregnancies are healthy and low risk and the labor is also the same, the risk of having a cesarean section is low. But the real risk in this situation is that when you don't have anything to eat and you're hungry, you run the risk of suffering from exhaustion, and your labor could progress slowly or even stop, and this is simply because you're tired and you have nothing in you. So it's okay to eat. Eat when you feel like eating. Don't eat too much, but then don't completely stop yourself to the point where you're starving and you're thirsty and you just can't have anything. So many pregnant women are worried about being in labor for an extended period of time. It's a myth to think that you have absolutely no control on the length or duration of your labor. Now, I know that you can't say this labor is going to last for 5 hours and that happens, but you have ways of reducing your labor, and that includes, like what I mentioned before, trying to eat and trying to drink water when you feel the need to, trying to pee often to reduce the pain, changing positions is the best way to do this. Don't just remain on your back. Take walks, squat, move around, try as much as possible to relax, because most people don't know this, but when you're tensed up during labor, your body can seize, it's sort of a way to protect yourself. Instinctively, it would stop the labor from going on just because it thinks the baby is safer inside of you than out, because you're worried about something. So you need to try to relax, because this will help your body know that you're in a safe environment and things will progress smoothly. So you must have seen this one in movies as well. The women laying down in a semi-reclined position, their legs like this, holding their legs up to push.
She's doing fine.
That's not the way to do it. You don't have to do it unless that actually feels best for you. But you have the option to push your baby out in different positions. Don't let anyone tell you that you absolutely have to be on your back. You can squat, you can stand. Some women even give birth sitting on the toilet seat. Crazy, I know, but you have options, so explore your options. So many doctors are not going to like this one, but inducing labor is not the same as going into labor naturally. Don't mind what anybody else will tell you. I know that in some situations you have to get induced for safety of the mom or safety of the baby, but inducing to fit a doctor's schedule, inducing because you're 39 weeks pregnant, inducing because you're tired, these are not good reasons to induce your labor, because when you do an induction, you're setting yourself up for a series of interventions. The medication that's used in induction, that's pitocin, it will start those contractions for you, but then the contractions are usually much stronger than the contractions that happen when you go into labor naturally. Now, you have contractions that are so painful you can't handle it anymore, so you have to get an epidural, and then you get an epidural, and now you're not able to feel yourself when you're pushing. Now the baby is in distress, or they have to tear you up to help bring the baby out quickly. It just goes on and on and on. I know that it's tiring, especially during those last final days of labor. It's very tiring. You want the baby to come out as soon as possible, but think very, very carefully. if you're not at risk, if baby is not at risk, you don't have to induce. Try to be patient, because you might sign up for something just as simple as an induction and then more things happen after that. Oh gosh. When a woman tells you that she's had a natural birth, it's normal for people to celebrate her and say things like, wow, you're so strong. But when people hear that a woman gave birth through cesarean section, you'd hear things like, oh, you did it the easy way, oh, you took the easy way out, or you didn't have a normal birth. And these things are not true. That is why most of the time on my channel, I encourage women to give birth vaginally, and preferably with little to no medical intervention, because cesarean sections are the difficult way out. It's a major abdominal surgery. The recovery time is much longer. It's definitely not the easy way out. It's not as straightforward. And women who have their babies this way, they deserve to be celebrated, because they absolutely did the hard work. Any woman who is able to go through pregnancy, 9 months, go through delivery, pushing, labor, everything, all that comes with it, they all deserve to be celebrated. And so we shouldn't say things like that to women, especially when this was something that was medically necessary for the safety of mom and baby. Home births are unsafe. I've heard this one so many times, and this is something that I talk about a lot, and it's probably one of my favorite things to talk about. So I guess it makes sense that people are always coming at me for this. We only recommend home births for people whose pregnancy and labor is normal and healthy. If you have a high risk pregnancy, you will never ever hear me say go and have a home birth. So the whole concept that home births are unsafe is just not true. If your pregnancy is healthy and you have a midwife present with you, a home birth is completely safe. In fact, a home birth in these instances come with extra benefits, like it will allow you to have more control over your labor. There's better opportunity for baby and mom to bond, because there's not a lot of people coming in and trying to do things. Especially if you want to have a natural birth, home births are perfect for it, because you're not in an environment that just wants to do things, that wants to step in. Midwives, especially midwives that would attend home births, they like to let the mom take control and watch, and only step in when they absolutely have to. So no, home births are not unsafe. The final myth I want to talk about today is the one about episiotomies. If you don't know what an episiotomy is, it's a surgical cut to your perineum. So say this is your vagina. They would cut you either like this straight down or to the side, and this is usually done to make the vaginal opening wider so that baby can be born. Episiotomies are great when there's an emergency and baby needs to be gotten out very, very quickly. But for normal pregnancies and normal labor, you're better off allowing yourself to give birth normally and embrace the risk of tearing, because most times when you tear naturally, the tear is usually smaller and it's not as severe as when you're giving an episiotomy. So no, episiotomies are not better than natural tears. That's all for today's video. I want to know, which myth did you think was the truth before watching this video? Let me know in the comment section, and please remember to subscribe if you love videos like this. Bye!